Hello, I'm your host, Leonard Duncan. Welcome to a new episode of ATV-TALK and Motorsports Podcast. Please join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We bring you interviews with industry professionals, live events, live news about the motorsports industry in every episode. Enjoy the show. Whether we are out riding with our friends and family or racing in extreme environments, we all need good tires. That's why I recommend GBC Power Sports Tires, a division of Greenball Corp. Their products, which include XC Master, Mini Master, and Groundbuster 3, are what leading professionals in the ATV-UTV industry are using. You can get your tires at greenballtires.com or find them on Instagram as GBC Tires for further inquiries. Are you looking for the best suspension technology for your sport ATV? Look no further than Elka Suspension, the industry leader in sport ATV suspension technology. With championship wins in prestigious events such as the Dakar Rally, SCORE, Best in the Desert, ATV-MX, Cross Country, and Works, Elka Suspension has established itself as the go-to choice for athletes and enthusiasts alike. But they don't just stop at ATVs. They're constantly expanding into new markets, including UTVs, trucks, SUVs, pit bikes, snowmobiles, and more. Their commitment to innovation and quality means they're always looking to improve and adapt so you can enjoy a smooth ride wherever you go. Want to learn more about what Elka Suspension can do for you? Visit their website at elkasuspension.com or give them a call at 450-655-4855. They will always be happy to answer your questions and help you find the perfect suspension solution for your needs. Shelby Cobrando, welcome to ATV Talk, young lady. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I always like having the professional athletes from all different categories, especially the ladies, because I don't think you get enough coverage as it is. So if I can give you some more, that's always going to help.
Thank you. That's greatly appreciated. There's definitely not as many women in the sport as there is men, so that's really cool.
Exactly. And that's why I think that the play on airtime, we should give you guys a little bit more of a nod because there's not as many. So let's get more of you out there.
I absolutely agree. We do the WMX youth program to help get the younger generation involved so they can grow up and, be just like us and just grow the sport.
How does that work for you guys when you get a younger rider? Is there a hat draw, or do they just randomly pick the rider you get to work with?
I want to say that they try to stick with your home track being your mentor kind of track. And as far as the youth ladies go, they have a sign up thing online. They do it through email. They should be posting about that probably beginning of the season next year, or maybe even over the winter this year, just to see, what younger girls are interested in meeting the WMX riders and hanging out with them for the weekend. It's a really cool experience. I got the pleasure of doing that at Loretta's. My rider was Kaylee Hibbs. She was on a 90 CVT. She did pretty great. It's really about growing the sport and getting these young ladies interested because there's definitely not as many of them compared to the boys. So it just makes it really interesting.
How did the parents take it?
Kaylee's parents were really involved. They had lots of great questions. My parents even helped me out a little bit. My dad always built my CVTs, and so he was able to help her dad a little bit in some ways as far as the mechanical stuff goes. So it's like a group effort. I think it worked out really well. I think it was a big success.
That's so great. Now let's get into you a little bit more. How long have you been racing ATVs?
I've been racing the national series for 3 years now. I think I've been riding for the past 20, 21 years. I think I started when I was around 5.
Wow. And you just started riding, riding with the family, local areas, things like that?
Yeah, my mom was actually a racer back in the day. So mother-daughter kind of followed in her footsteps a little bit.
Did she
My
race
dad was always
ATV?
the mechanic of the group.
Did your mom race ATVs?
She did way back in the day. Yeah, she's pretty cool.
What do you mean way back in the day?
Well, I want
I've
to
been around a
say
long time.
I'm 26 and I don't know how old my mom is. I don't know if she'd want me to say either, but
Don't, yeah,
when
you
I
don't
was
have to do that.
yeah, when I was wee little, we raced together my first year or two racing. So I was around 5, and I know that she had been riding from the time she was a teenager, just locally and um, through the farm fields and whatnot when she was a kid. So that's kind of how she got into it, and she kind of got me into it.
That's great that it's a mother-daughter instead of a father-son. I haven't heard that many, stories like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's a kind of unique.
Is your mom still involved in your racing today?
Absolutely. She goes to every race. She's like my mentor in life, really. She's my coach. I'd be lost without her. Be lost without my dad. He's the big mechanic man. He's the driver. The three of us do it as a team.
That's incredible. Where do you guys travel from, if you don't mind me asking?
We're from Pennsylvania, and we're right around Lake Trove, and that's where the Steelers actually do their training camp. The
So
football team.
are you a Steeler fan?
I'm not a big sports fan. If it's not motor and wheels, I kind of don't get as interested. There's a local dirt car track around where we live too, Latrobe Speedway. They help me out too. Um, I don't know. I'm kind of a motor and wheels kind of girl.
That's great. I'm an all sports guy. I played football for many years, and the are my team. If I'm going to root for somebody, that's generally who I'm going to root for.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm only a couple minutes away from their training facilities. That's pretty cool.
That's great. I remember at one time when they still had Three Rivers. I got to, we crested the hill and we pulled over and, just checked it out because it was all lit up at night. And for me, being on the West Coast, it was quite the thing to see the Steelers Stadium all lit up at night. Um, so for a lot of people, it's not a big thing, but for me, it was quite cool to see that. I never got to go to a home game, or at least I haven't got to yet. My son and I want to go and experience it, but that's kind of cool that it's in your backyard and you're not even a football fan, you
I
know.
know. I'm a weirdo. What can I say?
No, not at all. We love motorsports as well. It's just we've always been exposed to, my brother and I, all kinds of different sports from, football, baseball. My daughter played softball, it just, you name it. Watched a little hockey, little basketball, but F1, MotoGP, motocross, you name it. When it's on, I'm mesmerized to the TV, just like everybody else that loves motorsports.
Yeah, I did play a little lacrosse in high school, so I guess I do enjoy one sport that's not motor related.
Well, I mean, it gets you healthy so that you can go ride your ATV, right?
That's right.
So, how did you find the nationals?
So I late raced a local series, outlaw series, Breezewood Proving Grounds for quite a few years, and I kind of wanted just to grow and see what else was out there and explore. And I did a couple of the dream camps that they had there, and I met a lot of the pros doing that. Um, and it kind of just opened a door there. It was all a confidence thing. I finally decided one day, you know what, this was a childhood dream that I wanted to try the nationals. And 3 years ago, here we are, and I think it's going good so far. So many memories I've made. I've met a lot of great people along the way too.
I've said this so many times on the show that you'll meet the greatest people at an ATV race.
Yeah. They kind of become part of your family.
Yes, they do. How well do the ladies get together? I mean, do you guys all get along in the WMX?
I think so. I'm more of a reserved, kind of shy person, so I don't really put myself out there too much, but all the girls are great to talk to.
Do you guys share tips on the track much back and forth?
Yeah, sometimes we'll ask about like certain rough spots or how the track was developing throughout the day. I know we've had some pretty interesting conversations during the autograph signings after the race, so it's pretty cool.
When you and I didn't, mean to do this, but when I saw you standing there, I had to reach out to you when we were at the Legends race because I don't get an opportunity to travel back there very often. And when I get to meet someone that's racing at the caliber you are, I have to take that opportunity immediately. So I hope I didn't throw you off too much.
Oh, that's okay. I'm always up for new things.
Excellent. Your dad said when he caught me on the in the pits the next day and said that I was threw you off just a bit by, you weren't used to media just gravitating to you so quick.
Yeah, definitely a little bit different. I'm not real big on social media. I kind of only use Facebook. I have an Instagram. I don't use it per se. I don't think I've posted on there in quite a few years, but I scroll through every once in a while. Kind of an old soul, I guess.
That's okay. Until I did this, I wasn't a huge social media person. And, I was kind of anti, and now I'm so immersed in it that the business is social media. We're on Facebook and YouTube, and, you know, it's just crazy all that you have to go through. But the cool part is you were so open to the conversation and approachable.
Yeah, I try to be. I'm very shy off the get-go. I don't like to put myself out there. I don't know why, but I think I do okay.
Oh, you did great. I mean, you didn't stutter, you didn't stammer, you just answered the questions and moved right on. I like the fact that it's so raw when I get to talk to people because I don't believe in, sugarcoating it or giving you 10 questions, let you read them and so that you can just have the answers. I want to get the expression on your face when I'm talking to you about the specific topic, so that it's real for the fans.
Right. It makes a better conversation, I think, that way when you can just, kind of let it out.
Exactly. You know, this year you ended up fourth in points. I don't know where you were last year, but you were 1 point away from that podium spot.
Yeah, for some reason, Loretta's isn't really my strong suit. Gotta overcome that confidence thing or that fear, whatever it is. I'm not sure, but I gotta get that figured out for sure.
Is it something that you're just not real comfortable with the track?
You know, growing up in Pennsylvania, we really don't have any sand-based tracks. They're all hard packed dirt clay kind of combination. So you get a lot of that blue groove. So these sand tracks I kind of struggle with in an aspect just because I didn't grow up racing on that kind of terrain. And it is a lot different.
So are you thinking of driving down to Florida in the wintertime, and riding some of the tracks down there to get a little used to it?
That would be nice if I could get enough time off the job. But yeah, I mean, that's always like a nice goal to try to get accomplished throughout the winter, just to get some more seat time in.
Just like 80% to 90% of the racers, you're working a full-time job to pay for your racing.
Absolutely. 40 plus hours a week.
Right. Do you mind if I ask what you do?
I work as a nurse's aide, and I actually work night shift full time.
Really? When you say nurse's aide, that's kind of like you're the other set of hands for them, making sure that you're running and getting supplies, things like that.
Yep, it's a lot of the bedside care. Not so much like the medication part of the care, but the
Mhm.
more hands-on, I think. area of it. And I've been working as a CNA for almost 10 years now.
That's my wife is that, as well as a home caregiver.
Oh,
So,
that's awesome.
so you do the same thing my wife does. That's
Yes.
great. My wife is super passionate about it because she loves taking care of people.
Yeah, I like to help or just to be there. I think just to be there sometimes makes all the difference.
Comforting people when in their time of need is it, it takes a special person. It really
It
does.
does.
Yeah, I don't I don't know if I could ever do it, but I hear some of the stories and I'm like, wow, okay, honey, you know, you just keep doing it because I'm gonna sit on the sidelines and watch, you know.
Yeah. The amount of things that a well-seasoned nurse or aide have seen in their time could create an award-winning novel. It's things that you can't describe sometimes. You know, it's pretty unique, pretty crazy story sometimes.
So racing and riding your ATV is a great release for some of that stress that you have to live with every day.
Yeah, in a way. In a way, it's still stressful too, because you want to always do better and improve on your own riding skills or to hit that jump that you want to hit so bad and you just got to do it.
Well, we talked briefly about the big jump at Briarcliff that, you know, you were doing it before Kinsey was doing it.
During the Digging Deep ride day last year at Briarcliff, he has a practice day for quads, kind of like an ATV day.
Mhm.
I ended up hitting it that weekend, and that was the first time then.
That you did it then.
Yeah.
Do you have any of the other tracks that the nationals go to? You know, are any of the other jumps a difficult issue for you at all, or is it just something that you like to do?
I kind of get down on myself sometimes, and especially when it comes to those big jumps, I know that I can do them, and I'll sight lap it 20 plus times, and then all of a sudden I'll just do it like I've been doing it my whole life. It's kind of like a mind block, but I don't know. I overcome them sometimes.
Are you ready for your next vacation adventure? Step into the heart of Arizona's natural splendor with a tour of Antelope Slot Canyon. Ideal for photography enthusiasts and nature lovers, our tours offer a unique journey through a landscape sculpted over millions of years. Let our expert guides lead you through the swirling sandstone. We're going to have to do it. Let our expert guides lead you through the swirling sandstone formations where every turn reveals stunning light displays, geological marvels. Secure your spot now at Antelope Slot Canyon Tours and prepare to be awed by the canyon's mystical beauty. For details, please visit us at antelopeslotcanyon.com.
Trust me, I'm not a jumper. I like to keep my wheels on the ground or more of a high speed type wheels off the ground thing, not big air. Not been a fan of it my whole life. So I wouldn't jump any of the jumps that you're jumping, most likely. It's just not my thing. I have jumped and I have some photos where I've done some pretty cool things, but it was solely because I had to, not because I wanted to.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to hit Bigfoot just because I wanted to do it. And it's a pretty cool jump. It's got high speed to it, and you got lots of air time. So it's a neat feeling floating like that. It's really cool.
You know, the first year I went to Briarcliff, they said that you had to line it up correctly. You made a comment to me that contradicted what they said. You pulled off an inside line and completed the jump where everybody else will go to the outside.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know why. I kind of think I do things the difficult way first. And for some reason that's comfortable for me. But yeah, I prefer hit it from the inside line. I don't know, even with the acceleration bumps coming out of the turn, I feel more comfortable taking that line.
And that's what it's all about, really, is comfort.
Yeah, especially when you're hitting high speeds to clear that distance, you kind of want to be comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, Beings that we're talking about that, what kind of machine do you ride?
So I ride a Honda 450 chassis, but it's a hybrid, so it has the Honda bike motor in it instead of the ATV motor.
Which year CRF motor do you run?
You know what? I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's dad's job, right?
Yeah, I'm not the mechanically inclined one in the family. Kind of got the girl genetics when it comes to that, but
It's okay. It's okay. Having a great mechanic in the house with you always makes it a little easier. Uh, I'm sure that the dads all get together because I'm in your class. Most of the dads are the mechanics, right?
yeah, that seems to be the consensus. Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous. I wish my daughter would have liked the motorsports portion of it. When I tried to get her into it, she just was never really, just wasn't her thing.
That's all right. Everybody's different.
Yeah, I took my youngest out to the sand dunes. I've told this story before, but first time out to the sand dunes, we're in a UTV. She's never been out there before. And what's the one thing you don't want to do with a rookie? You don't want to wreck.
Hmm.
And I rolled the car.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, it didn't deter her from riding and going out the rest of the weekend. She just wouldn't ride with me anymore. You know, other
That's
people
all
did.
right.
Yeah, and she still had a great time. It's a great story she gets to tell her friends. A lot of her friends don't go riding or go to the desert or anything, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, I've never been out that way. So that would be interesting to experience.
You should try to hook up with one of the racers on the West Coast and at least come out and try a off-road race. I think that you probably have a good skill set and would have no problem running well out here on the West Coast.
Yeah, that'd be pretty interesting. That'd be really cool.
Hannah Hunter came back out this year and rode and did really well. Um, she hooked up with Bo Barron and rode one of his Hondas, and it was a good day for her. She had a little bit of an issue on the start, but for the most part, she had a great time.
That's really cool. Is that all like a sand dune kind of area, or there's track involved too?
Well, on the World Off Road Championship Series, on the Work Series, they run multiple different kinds of terrain in one course.
Okay.
Um, Gosh, I don't know. They haven't ran in like a sand dune environment in years, but some of the courses are riverbed, so they're more deeper sand. Some of them, a lot of them are sand based.
Yeah, that's what I
But
need to practice on.
there you go. An hour and a half moto out there, you'd have a great time, riding around. Might not
Yeah.
do so good for your hands, but at least you'd have a good time while you were getting to practice.
Right, right.
What uh, what are some of your future goals for ATV racing?
This year my goal was to finish in the top three, and we missed that by I think a point. So that kind of stinks, but there's always next year. I would like to go back to school within the next year or two. I'm kind of looking into physical therapy because being a nurse of aid is kind of hard on the back and body. Um, and I don't know if I want to do that for forever.
And so physical therapy would change your occupation. How much school time would you lose, or I mean, how much time would you lose to keep you away from riding?
I don't think I'd be able to do like the full riding season because to be a full-time student is pretty involved because there's a lot of in-class work to do take home stuff to do. Plus there's more like hands-on clinical work that you have to be in person for. So it's pretty involved schooling. So it's definitely in the future. Not exactly sure when, but I'd like to probably start that soon.
Yeah, always evolving the career is something that's very important. That unfortunately, it's going to affect your racing career a little bit.
Yeah, that's all right though. Can always get back into it.
Do you think that if you were going to school that you would still come and hit a few races a year?
Yeah, definitely. Being I live in Pennsylvania, I get fortunate enough to have two of the nationals in my hometown state, and Ohio's not far for us. It's like 3 to 4 hours. So those three were definitely good options just because they're pretty local.
Have you done anything other than race motocross?
No, I have not. I dabble around the idea one day that with age comes a cage. And I know I'm not old now, but I will be eventually. There is a local dirt car track around where I live called Latrobe Speedway, and it's really like a grassroots kind of place. It's been there for a long time, and it's nothing crazy fancy, but they run like sprint cars and whatnot there. So I think it'd be kind of fun to run one of like the 305 sprints and just feel the power of that too.
You mean you haven't been able to walk through the pits and get a ride, somebody to let you drive yet?
No, I don't really put myself out there.
You have a resume. You should go down and, let you try it out. I'm sure you could, you have a feel for an ATV and how it works, how it drifts. There is a difference when you get behind the wheel of a car, but I think that you could adapt to it. Look at Shane Hitt. That guy is super talented on ATVs, and he can drive a race car really well.
Yeah, you're right. It'd be interesting. I know that one of the families that comes to the track, he has a few kids that race. His name's Josh Schiffer. He has Tri-City racetrack, and I believe they have a dirt car track also. And I want to say that their lap is a mile long too, and that's the same lap length that's at my local dirt track in Latrobe.
Dude, I'd be jumping on that as well. Well, maybe I don't want to lose you in ATV racing yet, but as far as future, put yourself out there. I think that you could get a drive, especially if you have some skills. This is, I don't want it to sound bad, but beings that all sports are looking for female athletes to promote. It's your time.
Yeah, I think the doors have really opened for females in these kind of sports. You look back 20 years ago, even 10 years ago, it was like a very slim ratio on how many girls you had on tracks, and no matter what track that would be, whether that's for quads, bikes, cars. Then you look at it now, and you have a good handful of young ladies and women on the gates for multiple classes. So I think that's awesome that we see the sport growing in that way, because it's really cool to be a little bit older now and remember when I was a kid that I had to qualify for like CBT classes because there were so many of us, and I was the only girl, or maybe there was only one other girl. And now it's not like that. You got a good handful in most of the groups.
Right. And in some cases, there's enough to have their own class.
Yes, there is. There's a few girls classes for the nationals for ATVs.
Do you race in any of the other classes besides WMX?
No, I stick to the WMX class because both our motos are on Saturday, and my dad is awesome. He drives through most of the night Saturday so that I can be home in time to go to work on Sunday.
Really? So everything's scheduled, bang, bang, bang. Gotta race my moto. If I get a check, collect my check, jump in the truck, drive home.
Yeah, it's pretty busy and hectic life we have, but I don't have it any other way. It keeps everything exciting.
That's so great that you have a dad that does that for you, or the close knit family. That's special in our sport, I believe. So, go back to the cage conversation. You have ladies that are driving Nash truck and Xfinity.
Yeah.
There's no reason that in your local area in Pennsylvania you couldn't be driving a dirt track car, next weekend.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting. I like that adrenaline rush, that horsepower kind of feel. So I think it's definitely maybe in the future somewhere. Not sure when, but definitely something I'd like to experience. I like that kind of adrenaline. I don't know.
Well, it's once you've got racing in your blood, nothing can change that. Nothing can top it.
Yeah, I get it honestly too. My dad was into cars from the time he was a kid, and my mom was always into the quad thing. So I got a mix of both of their genes. So I was
Yeah.
bound to be a motorhead, I guess. You can't not like cars when you're named after a car. So
Right, right. That's so true. So tell us a little bit about that. You did when I was at the track with you, but um, for sure you're named Shelby because of, you go ahead
yeah,
with it.
my dad's a Ford guy. So of course, when he found out he was having a daughter, he probably thought Shelby would be a good name. And something that makes it even cooler is that my last name is Cobrando. If you take the last three letters off my last name, I am a Shelby Cobra.
Do you own a Shelby Cobra?
I really wish I did, but we do have a Fox Body Mustang in the family. So at least we
Well,
got one sitting in the garage.
that's great. I love the fact that there's a story behind it. How did mom feel about it? Obviously, mom must have went along with it because she allowed you to be named Shelby.
Yeah, I've never heard of any other names be really tossed around. I think I was just kind of meant to be a Shelby. I don't know. I like it though. I really like my name. I think it's pretty cool.
They didn't name you Shelby and then your middle name was GT?
No, no,
No.
unfortunately not. That'd have been pretty sweet too, but I'll take Shelby Cobra.
That's great. When I talk to people about you, that's how I do it. I say, you know what, I can't pronounce the last name, so Shelby Cobra is who it is. When Leon and I talk on our race reports, you're Shelby Cobra. So I hope that's okay. The fans know who you are. That's the best
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, that's totally fine with me. I'll tell people, if you struggle with that last name, just say Cobra. Forget the last three letters and they'll know who you're talking about.
uh, I obviously am not the only person that struggles with that pronunciation, am I?
No, some of my residents and coworkers can't quite get it out. I don't know why. It's only eight letters, but it is what it is.
Where does the lineage come from?
I believe that my dad is a little Italian, so I'm gonna guess somewhere that route. I'm not 100% sure about my family heritage on where the name comes from, but I do want to say it's Italian related.
I could see that. I could see that. I still can't pronounce it, but I can see that maybe Italian is where it would be. I'd almost like to. I'm gonna have to look it up so that I know um, for my own personal use. I hope that you go through your schooling and stay in the ATV sport. You have more to experience and more to teach. Coming out west is something that is an experience that every ATV racer from the east should do. It's just like the riders from the west need to go experience the east. So I hope that you can connect with somebody out here on the west coast and get yourself a vacation and come out and go ride. Uh, it is an experience. I think you have skill set from motocross that will make it easier of a transition for you. It's in off-road, the some of the fastest people are former motocross.
Yeah, I've heard that. Can't remember where I heard it from, but I know that my ears have heard that before.
Well, yeah, you attack everything where some off-road racers don't attack the terrain the same as a motocross rider does. So it's
Yeah.
just it's something that I think that you'll do well at. What's your favorite track?
My favorite track that we've probably hit on the national circuit would be Ironman. Um, I really like how that track develops throughout the day. It kind of turns into a little bit of a highway because it gets a lot of that blue groove. So it's that hard packed dirt that I kind of grew up on. Um, when I was a kid, I really enjoyed Steel City. Unfortunately, it's not a track anymore, but it used to be part of the national series.
Isn't that horrible that we lose tracks? What'd they do? Turn it into a housing project?
No, I think it turned into something similar to farmlands or maybe for oil. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that it was all leveled out and it's just not there anymore. And
Hmm.
it's in Pennsylvania too.
Nice, nice. Most memorable race so far?
My most memorable race so far. Oh, let's see. Probably Pleasure Valley this year. For the first time, I had pulled whole shots in Moto 1 and Moto 2 and ended the day on the podium. I had some of my family there, my cousins, and that really meant the world to me. I don't talk to all my family anymore, so to have the ones there that were special and important, that was really something that I'm gonna cherish forever. I really enjoyed that weekend. That was pretty eventful for me.
So to have your fan club there cheering you on and for them to see you get the whole shots. So there is a whole shot award. Do you still have the checks?
Yeah, we get to keep the big checks. Brian is he's awesome with what he does to help grow that sport. Last year he had big surfboard shaped checks. This year it was a beautiful tropical design, and he does it in memory of his wife Michelle. I think it was just a beautiful relationship that they had and that they continue to have, just in a little bit of a different way now.
Yeah, it's a special story. I got to meet her that year. Um, yeah, it was a tragedy and a horrible loss for him. But Brian is a great dude. I enjoy talking with him. He loves promoting you guys. I think he gets more thrill out of that than he does riding.
Yeah, he's a great person to talk to. He's been around the sport for a long time, and I want to say that he started on like street bikes. So he's always kind of been in the motor and wheels kind of thing. So it's amazing what he really tries to help do for the sport. Without him and the sponsorships and fundraising that everybody does for the WMX program, they're sharing that too with the girls. I want to say they're sharing that with like the pro-am guys too. They have whole shot awards. So it's awesome that we're growing to the point to where we're sharing with everybody, to just to make it more interesting and more to push for, because who doesn't like getting one of them big checks on the podium on that stage? It's a very enlightening feeling. It's really cool.
Some people hate dust collectors. I love them. I think it's the greatest thing. I mean, you can look behind me, all the stuff that we have or that I have. I've some of it's new, but some of it I've been collecting for years and years and years. Even the trophies when I raced, I love it because it's memorabilia that and brings back memories from a time that not everybody gets to share. And my grandkids, yeah, I have almost a grandkid that's almost your age, so it's okay. My grandkids love to ask the questions, about this or about that, and so keep those checks and keep all those trophies because your children's children will love to ask questions about it.
Yeah, I mean, I have things from the time I was a kid. My parents have these big plastic Tupperware containers up in their attic of their house full of plaques and trophies from when I was little racing at local fair races and arena cross. And I have some Doug Gus stuff from back in the day too, because he was my idol.
So he's your favorite legend?
Yes, definitely. That's kind of where the number 55 came from. I've been running that number since I was a kid.
That's great. Did you get to talk to Doug when he came to the Legends race?
Unfortunately not, with how the motos kind of overlapped that day. It was just I was in staging when they were on the track, and then I was lining up to the gate when they were on the podium. So it was a hustle bustle day, but it was just really neat to be able to see the crowd that drew in and the legends from all the different kind of timelines. It was really interesting.
We were so busy, I only got to catch glimpses of your race. And that is, there were a couple races I really wanted to watch. Yours, the WMX and Pro-Am and Pro Sport. I wanted to catch those races along with the pro races, and I didn't get to because the schedule was just so jam-packed. We were busy. I was so busy talking to people the whole time, and fortunately running into you and a couple of the other ladies so that I could get those interviews. And it was good, other than I didn't get to see you ride.
That's all right. That weekend, I don't know if they anticipated on it being that big, but I'm glad that it was. I'm glad to see what one promoter can do for, the ATV community. Jeremy put a lot of hard work and blood, sweat, and tears into making that a big event. And I think he did a great job. He executed it well. There was over 3,000 people there watching. It was great. It was like a record-breaking weekend. I'm glad that it made the history books.
I haven't got the exact number, but I've heard anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 spectators.
Yeah, that's insane. He did make a post on Facebook, and I'm not good with numbers, so I can't remember them half the time. But I remember 3,000 something. That might have been like the spectators or the people that came in on like a Thursday, like the people that came in early. I can't remember exactly now, but I'm just glad to see how well that weekend did. That was amazing seeing so many faces there.
When you go, you couldn't even get something to drink. The lines were so long to get, if you didn't have a cooler, or you didn't have a place to eat, you weren't going to get to it. And some of the vendors closed because they ran out of food.
Yeah, I know our autograph line was like 3 hours long, and that's by far the longest we've ever had. That was amazing.
Did you run out of tear off sheets?
I ran out of tear offs. I ran out of posters that weekend. We ran out of a few things, but it was all for the better though. It was great seeing that kind of crowd.
I know I don't have the pink shirt up here that you signed, but that was specifically for Valeria, my daughter. That's my youngest. That's the one I was in the car with me when I rolled it. But she does so much work and is so pro the WMX. Every time that I have one of you ladies on, she freaking gets excited about it because she wants to see more women succeed in everything. So it's fun for that applicant for me to see
Mhm.
her so excited. You know, in 2020 when I started this, she didn't even know what an ATV was. And I've been doing this my whole entire life. I got Valeria in like 2016. And the reason I say I got Valeria then is because that's when her mother and I got together. And so I've become dad, and she's got, now she has a inner interest in ATVs and UTVs that she never would have had if we wouldn't have started this.
That's awesome. It's always something you want to try to continue to do is like expand your horizons. You always want to see more or travel someplace new. You never want to be stuck in a rut. You always kind of want to keep getting excited about life, I guess.
Well, when I started this, she didn't want nothing to do with it. And then she saw me struggling because I didn't know anything about editing. I didn't even know you were supposed to edit. I thought you just taped and put it in the you just transferred it over to the company that publicizes it for you, and you were done. And that's not how this works at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't have known any better.
You have to do some editing, you have to do some things. Well, Valeria jumped in and saved the day and helped me. And man, I couldn't do this without her. I call her the boss, because when I'm slacking or not doing it, holding up my end of the bargain, she makes sure to tell me about it.
That's awesome that you guys can work as a good team.
If you saw the blooper reels, you'd never see me the same ever again.
Oh, geez.
I don't do very well with scripts. When there's some things that we have to script, and it's very difficult for me. That's why so much of this is raw, because I couldn't stay on a teleprompter or on topic. I'm all over the map. So
yeah, that's okay. I mean, doing like a Q&A, it's interesting, but I don't think you get all of the reaction sometimes that way.
And there are some questions that I do get reached out to that why didn't you ask this? Why didn't you ask that? And I try to think about that. So if I have a second episode with you, then I can remember, hey, I need to ask this question for these fans, or that question for those fans. So I try to listen to the fan base to get a line for them. They want to know who you are. They don't care about me. They want to know what you do, what you're doing in your spare time, talking about, liking cars and possibly wanting to go race dirt track. There may be a fan out there that watches this, and you may get a social media request, or I may, that, hey, I have a dirt track car, would she want to drive it? We've had things like that happen where people have gotten in touch with people to go do other things that never would have happened if we didn't do this.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's not being a big social media person, and then doing this, you kind of realize like how many doors that it could open for somebody. And there's always, someone listening that could just be the right kind of friend or right kind of connection. And, you just make so many more memories and experiences that way. So social media can be a good thing.
It can be, if it's used properly. Yes, it can be. Shelby, I want to thank you so much for taking the time. I know that this is a little bit out of your wheelhouse, but your fans, I know you have them out there. Your fans wanted this, and I hope that it helps your career and allows you to get a little bit more into the sponsorship realm. And maybe you can get that resume going and get yourself a car drive.
I would really like that. And I really do appreciate you inviting me onto your podcast. I thank you for the opportunity. And
the team here at ATV-TALK would love your feedback. Please email it.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to share us with your family and friends. The podcast is available on all streaming platforms, and you can find us on social media as ATV-TALK Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter.